Yeah.
So if I were to go on the book which is there in the group, so what page should I go
It will
to?
be page 29. 29 is
29.
the book, but when you open it in any PDF reader, it may come as 52 or so.
Oh, I see. 52. Okay.
Search for 11:10. 11:10.
That is
So
a
it is
page?
No,
A
no.
page?
no
11:10
page
is
29.
one of the indicator. That is the time.
Yeah, as it should be 29 as long as it's the recent edition.
Yeah. The printed page and the reader page will not be the same.
11:10
Yeah.
you said, right? 11:10. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
मिल गया many beliefs वाला. ठीक है? So ma'am, shall we
Okay.
start?
Yeah. Sure. So there is no, from here, there is no contradiction.
No. See, we
For
will
the artist.
start from here because audio book will start from the next page.
Okay. Can you close the back, the one behind this page?
Okay.
And also then this will come, you can make it bigger. Yeah.
But this itself is
Yeah.
very, if I make
Now
it
it's better.
bigger, it will become very odd.
No, now this is fine.
Okay.
No, I don't need much.
Okay.
Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine.
The artist. Yeah.
The artist does not identify with the colors he uses. He knows he chooses them and applies them with a brush. So you paint your reality with your ideas in the same manner. You are not your ideas, nor even your thoughts. You are the self who experiences them. If a painter finds his hands stained with the pigment at the end of a day, he can wash the stain off easily, knowing its nature. If you think that limiting thoughts are a portion of you, permanently attached, therefore, you will not think of washing them off because they are permanently attached. You would behave like a mad artist who says, my paints are a part of me. They have stained my fingers and there is nothing I can do about it. So that is how we think. In case, they are attached permanently the limiting thoughts.
Right.
There is no contradiction, though there may seem to be, between spontaneously being aware of your thoughts and examining them. You do not have to be blind to be spontaneous. You are not being spontaneous when you indiscriminately accept as your own, for a fact, every bit of data that comes to you. See, you are not being spontaneous when you indiscriminately accept as your own.
Correct.
So many beliefs would automatically fall away quite harmlessly if you are being truly spontaneous. Instead, you often harbor them.
That means you store them.
Yeah.
And you recall them. Right. From here,
Yes.
I will play it from the book.
Yeah.
Accept as your own for a fact every bit of data that comes to you.
11:10.
Many beliefs would automatically fall away quite harmlessly if you were being truly spontaneous. Instead, you often harbor them. Previous limiting ideas accepted figuratively form a restraining bed, gathering other such materials so that your mind becomes filled with debris. When you are spontaneous, you accept the free nature of your mind, and it spontaneously makes decisions as to the validity or non-validity of data it receives. When you refuse to allow it this function, it becomes cluttered. No apple tree tries to grow violets. Quite automatically, it knows what it is and the framework of its own identity and existence. You have a conscious mind, but this is only the topmost portion of your mind. Much more of it is available to you. Much more of your knowledge can be conscious, therefore. But a false belief, a limiting one, is as ambiguous to your nature as any apple tree's idea that it was a violet plant. It could not produce violets, nor could it be a good apple tree while it tried to. The mistaken belief is one that does not fit the basic conditions of your inner being. So if you believe that you are at the mercy of physical events, you entertain a false belief. If you feel that your present experience was set in circumstances beyond your control, you entertain a false belief.
Right? So this causes a problem for us. Are you with me?
What causes a problem?
This
Believing?
false belief. See,
Ah, yeah.
what is he saying? If you believe that you are at the mercy of physical events, you entertain a false belief.
Yes, true.
And when you entertain a false belief, right, you become a limited part of yourself. That is the end of the. Now, where do you generate these false beliefs from?
You had a hand in the development of your childhood environment. You chose the circumstances. This does not mean that you are at the mercy of those circumstances. It means that you set challenges to be overcome, set goals to be reached, set up frameworks of experience through which you could develop, understand, and fulfill certain abilities.
1129.
Yeah.
The creative power to form your own.
Any need to stop somewhere?
He means we chose all these childhood environment means in the life before life we chose on our own.
Yeah. No,
We
the
also make the blueprint.
circumstances, the circumstances,
Whole plan.
yeah. It means
Yeah.
that you set challenges to be overcome, set goals to be reached, set up frameworks of experience through which you could develop, understand, fulfill certain abilities. The creative
Yes,
power.
because of your belief, you kind of make your own blueprint of your life.
No, that is one.
Hmm.
See, here when he is referring to the word you, right? You may take it to be that is the soul plan that you have drawn for yourself. The you
Correct.
here is not referring to us as individuals, but us as the soul. Because that, right? So that is the soul plan. It means that you have set the challenges. The creative power to form your own experience is within you now. That means after you have taken birth. As it has been since the time of your birth and before. You may have chosen a particular theme for this existence, a certain framework of conditions, but within these, you have the freedom to experiment, create, and alter. You have all that.
You can also alter because of the free
Yes,
will.
that is because of the free will. Yes.
Own experiences within you now, as it has been since the time of your birth and before. You may have chosen a particular theme for this existence, a certain framework of conditions, but within these you have the freedom to experiment, create, and alter conditions and events. Each person chooses for himself the individual patterns within which he will create this personal reality. But inside these bounds are infinite varieties of actions and unlimited resources. The inner self is embarked upon an exciting endeavor in which it learns how to translate its reality into physical terms. The conscious mind is brilliantly attuned to physical reality then, and often so dazzled by what it perceives that it is tempted to think physical phenomena is a cause rather than a result. Deeper portions of the self always serve to remind it that this is not the case. When the conscious mind accepts too many false beliefs, particularly if it sees that inner self as a danger, then it closes out these constant reminders. When this situation arises, the conscious mind feels itself assailed by a reality that seems greater than itself, over which it has no control. The deep feeling of security in which it should be anchored is lost.
So that is when we start
Who am I
falling into
questioning?
the trap.
A deeper portion of the self always serve to remind it that this is not the case. When the conscious mind accepts too many false beliefs, particularly if it sees that inner self as a danger, then it closes out these constant reminders.
When this
So
situation, that means when you don't start believing yourself,
okay, when this situation
you,
arises,
when you are a victim of your false belief, you
okay,
don't realize it,
yeah,
that is when you close down.
okay, yeah, correct.
The false beliefs must be weeded out so that the conscious mind can become aware of its source once again.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Bala ma'am, you
When
said
that,
something.
yeah, when that happens, so then the person thinks there is some greater reality than then it starts to think the inner self.
See, he surrenders to the false belief, thinking that to be the real. The
He surrenders
conscious
to,
mind feels itself assailed. The conscious mind stops working.
okay,
Okay.
and then he
If the
surrenders to, he's in,
pardon, no, it will surrender to the false belief. I can't do it.
no,
Visa,
correct,
I
no,
can do it. Originally, you are equipped to do it.
yes,
But the number of experiences that you have got, right,
yeah,
wherein you have not succeeded, will
yes,
slowly bring down your
yeah,
self-consciousness, right?
yeah. Until that, I
It will
got
hit,
it.
correct. So the conscious mind feels assailed by a reality that seems greater than itself. That
Okay,
flexibility that it has, it is subdued because of this false belief.
okay, got it.
The deep feeling of security in which it should be anchored is lost. Because when you start feeling threatened, right?
Yes,
You don't have the satisfaction that you are controlling anything beyond.
yes, correct.
And open to the inner channels of splendor and power available to it.
So what happens at that
1140.
time? Now, the false belief must be weeded out so that the conscious mind can become aware of its source once again and open to the inner channels of splendor and power available to it.
Yeah, this is important. Yes.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
The ego is an offshoot of the conscious mind, so to speak. The conscious mind is like a gigantic camera, with the ego directing the view and the focus. Left alone, various portions of the identity rise and form the ego, degroup and reform, all the while maintaining a marvelous spontaneity and yet a sense of oneness. The ego is your idea of your physical image in relation to the world. Your self-image is not unconscious then. You are quite aware of it, though often you reject certain thoughts about it in favor of others. False beliefs can result in a rigid ego that insists upon using the conscious mind in one direction only, further distorting its perceptions.
Right? So when the false ego takes over, we lose control. And as a result of loss of control, right, it can become a
Yeah.
rigid entity. That rigid entity will cause
Yeah. And only in
us
one
to think
direction.
only along one pathway.
Yes. So that way, it distorts the perceptions.
Correct.
Often, you quite consciously decide to bury a thought or an idea that might cause you to alter your behavior, because it does not seem to fit in with limiting ideas that you already hold. Listen to your own train of thought as you go about your days. What suggestions and ideas are you giving yourself? Realize that these will be materialized in your personal experience. Many quite limiting ideas will pass without scrutiny under the guise of goodness. You may feel quite virtuous, for example, in hating evil, or what seems to you to be evil. But if you find yourself concentrating upon either hatred or evil, you are creating it. If you are poor, you may feel quite self-righteous in your financial condition, looking with scorn upon those who are wealthy, telling yourself that money is wrong, and so reinforcing the condition of poverty. If you are ill, you may find yourself dwelling upon the misery of your condition and bitterly envying those who are healthy, bemoaning your state, and therefore perpetuating it through your thoughts. If you dwell upon limitations, then you will meet them. You must.
Okay, so this is the takeaway.
This is exactly in unified Babaji said.
No, I don't know. Whatever book we have taken to read further is coming and stopping us at that point, correct?
Yeah, the same way this morning, suddenly I saw this 7 limiting beliefs. Then I said, I thought interesting,
Yeah.
But that synchronicity, like
Synchro destiny.
destiny or synchronicity, yes.
Yeah.
Create a new picture in your
the main
mind.
thing is,
It will differ from.
One second. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I said we need to pay attention according to him on all
No,
these.
instead of using the word awareness, attention, I think awareness. We need to be aware of what is happening.
Yeah, and also initially he said in intention and attention, both we need to have.
Yes. Yeah.
From the picture your physical senses may show you at any given time, precisely in those areas where changes are required. Hatred of war will not bring peace, for example. Only love of peace will bring about those conditions. You may take your break.
Very beautifully enunciated, right?
Mm.
Hatred of
Yes,
war
yes.
will not bring you peace. Only love of peace will bring about those conditions. So
Yes,
again,
that's right.
like Babaji says, right? In one of the 12 manifestations of the word love, love being the ultimate, right?
Yes.
Which Sudhakar had shared at the beginning of part 2.
Yes.
Right? So that is what is the key message. So identify the false belief which is deeply hidden within us.
And we need to
Those
release them.
become the unwanted influences that we have, that we need to let go. and replace it with the creative thought, which is your derivative
Yes.
of the word love.
That's why in Babaji's book, he said, instead of thinking that I am ugly, always think that I am beautiful. That's
Exactly.
the example he.
I am beautiful as I am would be a better sentence. Anyway, let's see
Yeah,
what, after the break, what happens to Seth's thought process. That is Jane's thought process.
Or end the session as you prefer.
Then we'll call it a night. 11:56 p.m. Jane was out of an excellent trance before I finished writing. She didn't remember any of the material.
My God, Rob, it's almost midnight.
Actually, she could have continued the session. She's been extremely active psychically lately, but I wondered about her being tired tomorrow. She had ESP class tomorrow night, a session Wednesday night, and writing class on Thursday. Session 616, September 20th, 1972, 9:28 p.m., Wednesday. As we sat waiting for the session to begin at 9:20, Jane told me she had just picked up the heading for Chapter 3 of Seth's book.
Telepathy and belief gathering, or idea gathering.
She wasn't sure which. We'll see how close she came. At 9:25, she said,
I'm getting ready to start now. I can tell.
She lit a cigarette and looked off to one side and down, her attention already turned inward as she prepared to psychically join a very familiar energy personality essence, as Seth calls himself.
Good evening.
Good evening, Seth.
Now, we will resume dictation. I quite realize that many of my statements will contradict the beliefs of those of you who accept the idea that the conscious mind is relatively powerless and that the answers to problems lie hidden beneath. Obviously, the conscious mind is a phenomenon, not a thing. It is ever-changing. It can be concentrated or turned by the ego in literally endless directions. It can view outward reality or turn inward, observing its own contents. There are gradations and fluctuations within its activity. It is far more flexible
So,
than
are you reading what I am reading? It can be concentrated on or turned by the ego in literally every or endless directions.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
I mean, the way I read it,
Mm.
as I was hearing,
Mm.
so how do you identify the strength of your conscious mind?
Focusing,
Is it
awareness.
focusing, or while focusing, we need to be aware that the ego mind is acting on my natural behavior? That becomes the awareness that is required, right? So when when they say don't judge, does it not mean the same thing? Don't use your lens to see them as they are,
Yeah, correct.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
That I don't know
comes
why that.
like even acceptance,
Everything,
everything. Yeah,
correct.
all God
So
qualities.
take them with that as the input rather than your ego, right?
See, the way I understood, it can be concentrated or turned by the ego means we can concentrate being on our heart, connected to our higher self, or just leave it. When we leave it, our mind activates ego and it goes in different directions.
Correct. So how do we use the
you
conscious
give
mind?
it
I
credit
think that
for.
seems to be the next.
The ego can use the conscious mind almost entirely as a way of perceiving external or internal realities that coincide with its own beliefs. It is not that certain answers do not lie openly accessible, therefore, but that often you have set yourself on a course of action in which you believe, and you do not want to open yourself to any material that may contradict your current beliefs. If you are sick, for example,
You
there
do
is a
not
reason.
want to be
To recover thoroughly
open
without
yourself.
taking on new symptoms, you must discover the reason. You may dislike your illness, but it is a course you have decided upon. While you are convinced that the course is necessary, you will keep the symptoms. Now, these may be the result of one specific belief or caused by a complex of beliefs held together. The beliefs, of course, will be
Here,
accepted by you not as beliefs, but as
Yeah.
here he said, if you're sick, for example, can we go through that para? That
Yeah.
very interesting. Can we? Yeah. He says, if you are sick, for example, there is a reason. To recover thoroughly without taking on new symptoms, you must discover the reason. So we need to find out why I'm getting this. What do I have to learn? You may dislike your illness, but it is a course you have to decide upon. While you are convinced that
Not you have to decide. You have decided upon.
sorry. You may dislike your illness, but it is a course you have decided upon. Okay. You see, even though you don't like your illness, but it is a course you have decided upon. That means you yourself brought to learn some lesson.
Correct.
While you are convinced that the course is necessary, you will keep the symptoms. Because to learn a lesson, you have to go through this. And
Till you understand the lesson, that is, while you are convinced that the course is necessary, you will keep that.
Yes.
But the moment you change your outlook to, say, I think I have learned my lesson.
Yes. And by accepting, then it will be much, without, if you have
No, you won't
resistance, you will
keep the
give it.
symptoms. Your healing will be
Yes.
completed. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's basically introspecting yourself and why that sickness has come in the body. So basically back to spiritual tablets, I guess.
No. The moment you ask the question,
Or
why
is
the
it
sickness has come, means you are not accepting. Right. What is acceptance?
you're
You're
cutting off.
realizing that you brought it on yourself.
Oh, okay. So you're
Right.
not supposed to ask. Sir, I think I lost you what you said. Maybe my signal is not good.
No, I think
See,
Chandra sir's side, he has some problem.
let me see whether I need to change the network again. This is happening too many times.
Yes, sir. I'm losing the connection. I don't know.
No, I think Chandra
terminate
sir.
this guy.
He is frozen. Now he's back.
Before that was frozen, correct.
No, that was frozen while the changeover to the other network was happening.
Okay.
So, Surekha,
Yes, sir.
the important thing here is that the moment you ask the question why, right? Why brings about a hidden disbelief that it has come to you. I was doing everything right. I don't know why it came to me. That means there is a hidden resistance that is there still.
Yes, but also we need to No, then
So
how
when you are
you
going
know?
to accept it, oh,
Mm.
I brought this on myself because I need to learn 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe patience, maybe not do certain things that I have done. All these I now accept because I have understood the sequence of things that has led to this. Only then will you be able to accept.
Yeah, but
Yes
that
or
will
no?
not, yes, sir, but that will not give you the root cause problem, right? You are accepting, okay.
No.
How
When
you
you are,
know you got that?
see, the moment you start asking, why did I get it? Okay, that why will denote a feeling of resistance.
Yeah,
You don't
maybe
agree?
yes, but you maybe you can say like you accept it, but also you want to know, right? How you will fix whatever you have to
When
fix.
will your acceptance start? When you have identified the reason for it, right?
Mm. Okay.
How will you accept it? Or you will accept it by changing your attitude to surrender. Now, surrender has got its own limitation in the sense that the lurking cells within the body will still say, you didn't do that, you didn't do this. They will keep searching for that,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And that is not what you want to achieve. That becomes the limiting part.
Is
Yes.
reality.
Yeah. Yes.
Once you understand that you form your reality, then you must begin to examine these beliefs by letting the conscious mind freely examine its own contents.
940.
We will speak about health and illness more specifically later in the book. I would like to make one point here, however, that often psychoanalysis is simply a game of hide and seek, in which you continue to relinquish responsibility for your actions and reality and assign the basic cause to some area of the psyche hidden in a dark forest of the past. Then you give yourself the task of finding this secret.
Actually, this one is explaining very well. So we will go back to this.
Now, these may be the result of one specific belief or caused by a complex of beliefs held together. The beliefs, of course, will be accepted by you not as beliefs, but as reality. Once you understand that you form your reality, then you must begin to examine these beliefs by letting the conscious mind freely examine its own contents.
So the
940.
other way, Sureka, taking the question that you raised further, what
Yeah.
he is advising is, you won't accept your beliefs as beliefs, but as reality. So what is he saying? Once you understand that you form your reality, if that is the premise, right, then
Mm-hmm.
your question may change in its tone, right? So you start examining which of these beliefs is the false belief that you need to let go, which
Yeah.
has
I
led
mean,
to that condition, correct? Probably that is what you meant.
yeah, I was thinking about, maybe an example would be nice. Maybe okay, right now flu season is going on, right? Pretty much every city. So I don't know if that's a good example or not to take it.
It will be, see, in thinking and destiny, our thoughts,
Mm.
whether they are conscious or otherwise, whether they are conscious or otherwise, our thoughts are going to be the one that is going to attract, correct?
Mm. Mm. Yes, sir.
Right? Even if you say, oh, there is the flu season, however, I need not worry. My immunity is much above because I am a regular practitioner of breathing, meditation, and all. That makes my immunity strong. So even if it comes, the body knows how to tackle it.
Yeah.
So, how would your environment be then?
There is a whole chapter on the body of your beliefs and the power structure
Yeah,
of beliefs,
correct,
Oh,
correct.
and also health and good and bad thoughts. Yeah.
oh, that's good. Yeah.
Okay, sir,
No,
I have a
no, the
question.
very para that we are here gives us one such example. That is later in the book. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
We will speak about
Sir, one
health and
question here.
illness more specifically later in the book. I would like
Ramakrishna Garu, you had something to add?
Yeah, I have a question here. See, going on the flu thing, right? I have been taking a vaccine for almost like 20 or 25 years every day, every year, regularly. But 2019, I got the flu. And definitely in that time, the question obviously comes, why? Right? So the correlation is like you are always doing something either to achieve something or not to attract something, right? Like a flu vaccine. So when the reality goes against your assumption, then definitely you'll ask the question why. Did I express myself?
No, you did. Instead of asking the question why, acceptance would be in spite of my taking the vaccine. But there is one fallacy there. You are putting your confidence in the quality of the vaccine that you have taken. You are not putting the confidence on your immunity.
Yes, that is true.
So there is already a compromise, right? You have already subjected your this one saying that there is this flu, so I have taken vaccine. Now,
But
vaccine.
Ram,
Yeah,
only
go
in
ahead,
this
man.
country, in India, nobody will take a flu vaccine every year like this. Only here.
No, nobody does.
Yeah, only in US people take every year regularly. It has become like a habit. But in
Yeah.
other countries, other countries in India, nobody takes it.
No, but flu is not the topic here. Topic is like you have taken a step either to
Then,
to get something or
see,
not to
no,
get
but then
something.
where is your faith? Is the faith in yourself? In India, the faith is in ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm,
It's similar to the when you're traveling also, sir. A lot of people take travel insurance and all that stuff. Like especially when you're going for some countries, right? With baggage or
Travel insurance is not taken because you may fall sick. The travel insurance is taken because the cost of Medicare is prohibitively high.
even that, if
That's
you're confident on your, what you said just now, your immunity or your belief or whatever your
No, there it is not the immunity. I won't fall sick, but I'm still taking it is the thought process, right? That is my
and also
thought process.
it is
I
for
take
a
it
traveler.
because given my multiplication factor between the cost of Medicare in India and cost of Medicare in the US, if I spend 1,000 rupees here, there it is almost $1,000.
yeah.
Okay, coming from India, $1,000 is a very big sum.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I have to spend 86,000 rupees. 86,000 rupees could be my annual budget in terms of my food and the domestic care is concerned.
Tangu?
right. I mean, what I'm trying to say is like, it's all I don't
So
know
there will
where.
be multiple reasons as he has explained.
Right, right.
Hmm. That's why he said while there is a separate chapter, let us understand the viewpoint that he is painting here.
like to make
Yeah.
one point
Yeah.
here, however,
okay.
that often psychoanalysis is simply a game of hide and seek in which you continue to relinquish responsibility for your actions and reality and assign the basic cause to some area of the psyche hidden in a dark forest of the past. Then you give yourself the task of finding this secret. In so doing, you never think of looking for it in the conscious mind, since you are convinced that all deep answers lie far beneath, and moreover, that your consciousness is not only unable to help you, but will often send up camouflages instead. So you play that game. When and if you
So
manage
this is
to
a game
change your...
of self-doubt. This is a game of self-doubt.
Yes. See, he said we are camouflaged our consciousness because of our limited beliefs.
Correct. And we don't let the conscious mind take over.
Yes.
We go deep. What is simple, we make it complicated also in the process. So let us see.
beliefs in that self-deceptive framework, then any suitable forgotten event from the past will be used as a catalyst. One would do as well as another.
Pause at 9:45, one of many. Now rock music began to blare out from one of the apartments below us. I felt the very floor vibrate, but Jane, in trance, didn't seem to be bothered.
The basic beliefs, however, were always in your conscious mind, and the reasons for your behavior. You simply had not examined its contents with the realization that your beliefs were not necessarily reality, but often your conceptions of it. At the same time, in psychoanalysis, you are often programmed to believe that the unconscious, being the source of such dark secrets, cannot be counted upon as any bed of creativity or inspiration, and so you are denied the help that the inner portions of the self could give to your consciousness. Usually,
Right.
when you do examine your conscious mind, you do so looking through or with your own structured beliefs. The knowledge that your beliefs are not necessarily reality will allow you to be aware of all the data that is consciously available to you.
This is the this is the true reason. Would you not agree? Ramakrishna sir.
Is he there?
Usually, when you do examine your conscious mind, you do so looking through or with your own structured belief.
Yes.
Right? The belief was the vaccination will protect you.
Yes.
Right? So now what is happening? The knowledge that your beliefs are not necessarily reality will allow you to be aware of all the data that is consciously available to you. Now, what does that mean? The vaccine has got its own limitations.
Yes.
It has got a set of past events which it can fight for. But the current infection or current disease might be a mutated version which is beyond the capability of the vaccine. This data we miss because of the belief, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So that is what he is explaining. Everyone clear on that?
Yes.
Sureka?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. Yeah, the
Right.
vaccine. Yeah, I don't have question on that. Yeah.
No. See, when it comes to the vaccine, you
Hmm.
are taking it to be the mother of all. Even
Yeah.
if you hold an umbrella, if the rain is coming absolutely horizontal, how will the umbrella help?
Hmm. Yeah.
Right? It will have its own gap through which it will come.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Yes.
we don't take the full complement of the picture.
Yeah.
I am not telling you to examine your thoughts so frequently and with such vigor that you get in your own way, but you are not fully conscious unless you are aware of the contents of your conscious mind. I am also emphasizing the fact that the conscious mind is equipped to receive information from the inner self as well as the exterior universe.
This is what we forget. This is where we make the mistake, in my opinion. Anyone wants to comment on that?
So basically, yeah, that's why sometimes we get confused. It's correct. It gets the both ways. It receives the
We
information.
miss out one portion or the other in taking the 360-degree view.
Mm. So
Right.
So
we
Yeah,
cut the information in exterior universe information, then it will be more clear.
correct.
how, sir, exterior in universe means like
See,
can you give an
I told
example?
you that how much can you see?
Oh, okay. You mean the same vaccine example?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. That is why, I gave you the example of how I decode when I read a book. Right. I said, because of the limitation of my senses and its ability to comprehend, I take it that one book is giving me only 30 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. So, the moment I am aware of that, in the back of my mind, I always have that school of thought saying that, oh, what I am reading here is only 30%. I still have another
70% to learn.
which is not known.
Yeah.
Right. So unless I have that 360 degrees, I won't have the whole picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason is when we use exterior universe, because through our senses, we see limited. We use
Correct.
limited. Because we use our beliefs, limited beliefs because of senses, we cannot comprehend everything.
Sir,
That
is there
is
any
why when our third eye starts functioning, we undergo a very different way of looking at things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, in fact, I feel that when we are what we are learning in Unified, that we have an access of all knowing intelligence,
Correct.
and but we limit ourselves to our whatever notions we have and the belief systems that we
You
carry.
limit yourself to the
To what you know,
comprehension of what you see.
yeah, what you
Okay.
know or
But
what you
what you
understand.
see is what you focus on, not the entire thing.
Correct.
Because when we are, let us say you are driving, there are a number of other cars that are going past you. But if there is something which is out of the normal expectation, like let's say you see a yellow car, which is a rare color, right? Or you see a car which has got some things poking out of it, which is not the ordinary. Those may get registered, but by and large, you miss out many things which are common. Right? Then suddenly when you sit alone and then start recapitulating everything that has happened, that has transpired, that you have passed, right? You start seeing bits and pieces of what you have missed. In the process, you end up training your mind to look at it from a different perspective. Next time you come across, you will change the way you are going to look at those things. Right or wrong?
Yeah.
So
Sir,
that becomes the limited way of looking at things, or unlimited. We have to change it to the unlimited state. Yeah.
sir, I just have one quick question. So, inner self and exterior universe. So, is there any like how much percentage we have to look or take it
So that
from?
depends upon your wisdom and your ability, your angle of focus. Though there are so many. So we can always take that this formula.
Unmanifested.
If you are able to take this viewpoint, right? Manifested plus unmanifested is equal to complete. Right? If you have this awareness at all times, or you create your own formula. I created one formula. Whatever I read, unless I read 12 books on the concept, my knowledge is going to be limited. And second book, what am I scouting? What I don't know, I am scouting for.
Yeah.
Are you right?
Yeah. So for the like completely who are complete enlightened, like Patriji or other great masters, so they will be 100% inner self.
No, they will always be having this viewpoint.
They will still have.
Patriji, have you ever heard Patriji say, I know the whole thing?
No.
He says
I
we are always learning, and
learning.
just
Yeah.
look at
Yeah, he was a
his
constant learner.
participation. Whenever, however new the person may be, he listens to the experience very intently, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Why is he doing that? He is scouting for what are the missing bits that he needs to add.
Learning.
Learning wise. Yeah.
Exactly.
So there is no one like on any planet. Forget about Earth. I think there'll not be like any
It
being.
depends
With, like,
upon what, I mean, his earlier statement holds good. You are limited by your ability to perceive or conceive something.
Yeah, in next para he will explain, in detail how the way
No, but
you
he has
think.
already explained that it depends upon what you are able to perceive, what you are able to see. That much he has already
Yes.
experienced, right?
Yes. Also he
Okay.
says, if you find all is what this is difficult, you can also examine.
See,
Till when will you all be discussing? I will need to
uh,
leave now.
another half an hour max.
Okay, I have a Sajan Sangati at 8 o'clock every day.
Okay.
So I will have to leave now.
Sure.
Thank you
No
very
problem.
much. Yeah.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
let's take this example, Sureka. How many directions can you see this from? Let's take the 4 cardinal directions.
Yeah.
Right?
North,
Now,
south, east, west. Yeah.
okay, now, if you take that, a person who is able to see it this way, instead of seeing it, who sees more?
At the peak. Peak one.
No.
Where
The one
the
who is seeing where
on the
his
peak.
horizon is larger,
Yeah.
he is able to
Okay.
see much better, rather than a person who is directly seeing it. compared to a
Oh,
person who is seeing from here, correct?
yes.
Oh,
Again, if he
fine,
is
okay.
able to see
Mm.
in this manner, right, he will
Mhm.
end up seeing much more. Correct. Now, this is how we perceive. This is where our perception lies, right?
Mhm.
So, how much of it, where would we position ourselves is an important paradigm, correct?
Yeah.
Not only that, suppose if there are two rings, one after the one above the other, we see only one on the top.
Exactly.
Mm.
That is
Mm.
only manifested. But there is another ring underneath which is unmanifested.
Correct.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I did not like the drawing in my engineering studies.
And also, I think the manifested and unmanifested depends on your level of consciousness as well.
Exactly. Your level of consciousness, your wisdom, what you think
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
See, when I was
Okay.
initially, when I joined a job, I was a trainee engineer. Then there was an engineer. Then there was a senior engineer. And then there was an engineering manager. So I, in my innocence, asked my boss, I said, you are doing the same thing that I am doing. Why are you senior engineer and why am I engineer? Then the other day, after a few days, a complicated problem, my engineering manager also came with us. Then I
Mm.
asked him, what's the difference between you, me, and this junior person and my senior person? So he gave me an example of the problem we were attending to. And what was that problem? It was basically the same thing. The one who started was able to look at only this. The senior person started looking at it from a different perspective. My manager, who was much more experienced, he was able to take many more viewpoints. One was this way, he looked at it this way, he looked at it from all four directions, and he said, okay, we have to replace the part. Okay, so
Mm.
it depends upon the perspective with which we are able to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's continue.
I am not telling you to inhibit thoughts or feelings. I am asking that you become aware of those you have. Realize that they form your reality. Concentrate upon those that give you the results that you want. If you find all of this difficult, you can also examine your physical reality in all of its aspects. Realize that your physical experience and environment is the materialization of your beliefs. If you find great exuberance, health, effective work, abundance, smiles on the faces of those you meet, then take it for granted that your beliefs are beneficial. If you see a world that is good, people that like you, take it for granted again that your beliefs are beneficial. But if you find poor health, a lack of meaningful work, a lack of abundance, a world of sorrow and evil, then assume that your beliefs are faulty and begin examining them.
See this beautiful condition he has laid.
Yes,
Beautiful condition. Very, very
yes,
practical. Would you all agree?
yes, yes.
We will later discuss the nature of mass reality, but for now we are dwelling upon the personal aspects. The main point I wanted to make in this chapter was that your conscious beliefs are extremely important, and that you are not at the mercy of events or causes that dwell far beneath your awareness. That is the end of the chapter, and you may take a break.
Thank you. Very good. 10:01. There were several developments during break, and I'll try to discuss them in order before we get into Chapter 3. To begin with, Jane left her excellent trance easily, saying she had barely heard the music. It still boomed up from below us, but she wasn't interested in that. Instead, she talked about feeling sort of funny without being able to elaborate. While we had a quick snack, I asked her if she thought the recent strange behavior of our cat, Willie, could stem from his reactions to our own psychic states. We'd seen this happen before, although not recently. Early this month, Willie had picked up a case of fleas that was stubbornly resisting treatment. He had taken to staying outside all night, as well as most of the day. He was also losing...
You're saying something?
Billy is the dog, their dog, I think.
No, cat.
Oh, cat. Okay, got it. Okay.
losing weight. Our other cat, Rooney, had always seemed to be immune to us in such matters, and even now was conducting himself in his usual leisurely fashion. Willie was outside now, in a light rain that had begun a couple of hours ago. At supper time, he'd actually seemed to feel that the inside of the house was forbidden territory and had refused to come in. Now I went down the back stairs and called for him as I circled the house. No Willie. I met Jane in the front hall. Here the music was even louder, thundering out from the first-floor apartment. Once we were back upstairs in our living room, the music led me to talk about peer groups involving young people. We like rock and often dance to it. It's alive and vital. I also believe that Jane uses its energy when we hear it in the house during sessions. I commented upon the value many youths obviously placed upon conforming in their nonconformity. Jane described her own similar intense concerns in high school and college. I had evidently chosen not to be much influenced by those factors, though. I'd always been something of a loner. I asked that Seth comment upon Willie's behavior, if he cared to, after dictation. Then Jane said,
I knew I was feeling funny tonight. Now I get it. It's like I've got 3 channels from Seth going at once. I've even got directions.
She pointed off to her upper right as she sat in her rocker.
Seth comes through on his book, from here, on this channel.
Next, she indicated her lower right.
Then over here, immediately available, is Seth on you and me and Willie, and also on the portrait you asked me about the other day, the one you just finished.
Jane said, designating her upper left.
Over here now is Seth on what you were just saying about peer groups, how young people feel it's so important to fit in with their own kind, and why I felt that way, but you didn't. Hey, I've even got a bunch of history about that, all ready to deliver. A lot of material on each idea. I was really confused for a while. Yet now I see that each thing's separate, already prepared by Seth. You're not going to get 2 sentences about one subject, then switch to another one. Which channel do you want?
I'm keeping my mouth shut, I said, joking. How about going back to the book? I thought doing that would help her control the proliferation of channels until we could learn more about the development. The possibility had been indicated often. Witness Seth's ability to discuss a variety of subjects with the members of a group, even if they were strangers to Jane. The new step in her abilities would be her conscious awareness of the blocks of material already prepared and awaiting delivery. Jane promptly agreed to resume bookwork.
I've never felt just this way before, like I've been programmed in advance. It's as though I need 3 voice boxes. That's really weird. I do get it as sound, though. If I could talk 3 times at once, I could deliver finished material on those 3 things. Now I have to pick the right channel to get Seth back on his book. And it almost seems that if someone else came here now and mentioned a subject, I'd have that information already too. Each channel is as clear as a bell. There's no static or bleed through between them. There. Now I've just got another one.
Jane pointed to her lower left.
And it explains all of this. Huh. Just call me Station JANE.
My God.
The
I don't
nature
know.
of
How
person.
Renee, what it means is actually a message for all of us.
So many, that means so many
That means
at one time.
we think in multiple tracks,
Mhm.
right? When we think in multiple tracks, we need to be aware which one to choose and which one to stay focused on. Don't
Mm.
let distraction
Okay, got it. Yes,
take
yes,
control over you.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now this is bringing to a very interesting part of the belief system, of grouping the
Yeah.
beliefs.
Personal Reality by Jane Robert.
Shall we do it for another half an hour or people are tired?
Let's do it. This is a very interesting topic. Telepathy.
I am okay.
You are okay, right. Then let's do it.
Copyrighted material, all rights reserved. Seth returned in a humorous manner at 10:37.
Now, resume dictation. Chapter 3. Suggestion, telepathy, and the grouping of beliefs. Ideas have an electromagnetic reality. Beliefs are strong ideas about the nature of reality. Ideas generate emotion. Like attracts like. So similar ideas group about each other, and you accept those that fit in with your particular system of ideas. The ego attempts to maintain a clear point of focus, of stability, so that it can direct the light of the conscious mind with some precision and concentrate its focus in areas of actuality that seem permanent.
Okay.
As
now, here, there is a statement which is real, the statement that could keep you positive, the statement that could become limiting. Can you identify which one it is? The whole thing is one sentence, but it has got multiple commas, etc. The ego attempts to maintain a clear point of focus. If fear is the focus, will you see bravery anywhere in what you are reading? And vice
What is
versa.
bravery?
Bravery is the
Clarity, right,
opposite
sir?
of, or pardon?
Clarity, right?
Yeah, it could be clarity also, but
Mm.
your clarity is dictated by, let us say, your fear.
Mm.
Then will non-existence of fear be visible?
No, we will be totally fearful,
Correct.
blinded by that. Yeah.
Exactly. And suppose you have a complete, okay, now here is the question. We all are doing the exercise of identifying the limiting beliefs so that we are able to let them go. Right? And your viewpoint is, let me identify. My focus is, my ego is my inner light, correct?
Yes.
which is based on a number of factors. Let me identify, let my focus be in identifying them for the purpose of vis-a-vis. I've completely surrendered to that focus point.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Where is the danger? We are able to identify that danger, correct? That is something I wanted to highlight here. So you focus only on that. You don't focus on the entire thing. That is one risk in this sentence. Just
that is
wanted
why
to
he said.
highlight that.
So that is why he said the stability.
Correct.
That means whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Like attracts like, so similar ideas group about each other and you accept those that fit in with your particular system of ideas.
Yes.
Now that system of ideas, you are now taking that system of ideas into this. So just be aware of the system of ideas. What is that system? Central theme. Fear or identification of what to overcome.
Yeah.
So our attitude becomes the important thing.
Mentioned in Chapter 1, the ego, while a portion of the whole self, can be defined as a psychological structure composed of characteristics belonging to the personality as a whole, organized together to form a surface identity.
So the
Now,
ego
generally
can be
speaking,
utilized.
through the period of a
The-
lifetime, this allows for the easy emergence of many tendencies and abilities. It permits many more potentials to emerge than would otherwise be possible. If this were not the case, for example, your interests throughout life would not change. The ego, while appearing to be permanent, then forever changes as it adapts to new characteristics from the whole self.
In larger terms, Seth's ideas as to what the whole self is take in a great deal, with reincarnation and probable personalities, for instance, being only two of the concepts involved. The safest thing to say would be that each session even adds to our knowledge of what a constantly expanding whole self can be. See both the Seth material and Seth Speaks.
And lets others recede. Otherwise, it would not be responsive to the needs and desires of the entire personality. Because the ego is intimately connected with other portions of the self, it does not basically feel alienated or alone, but proudly acts as the director of the conscious mind's focus. It is an adjunct of the conscious mind in that respect.
1051. Jane's delivery was very intent.
So what is
Basically,
he referring to?
it understands it.
What is he referring to here? Who is he referring to in this?
Ego.
Yeah, Ratna.
Ego.
But
Ego.
proudly acts as the director of the conscious mind's focus.
Yeah.
What is he referring to? What is it that is acting as the director of the conscious mind's focus?
Is this ego mind?
Ego, the set of
Exactly,
ideas.
the ego, the individual's ego. It is an adjunct of the conscious mind. We never keep this in the awareness when we are thinking, do we?
Director of the conscious mind's focus. But being the word, isn't it contradictory here? I mean,
Which one?
So here he's saying the set of ideas. You hear ego means that set of ideas what we are came up with. The rigid ideas.
No, ideas are not coming from the ego, no? System of
Our
ideas.
ego means it's nothing but the rigid ideas we have formed over the period of time.
No. See, ego is an identity. Correct, Ratna ma'am? Ego is an identity. And it has got a job to do. Ideas have an electromagnetic reality. Beliefs are strong ideas about the nature of reality. Ideas generate emotions. Like attracts like. So, similar ideas group about each other, and you accept those that you fit in with your system of ideas.
So that whole package we can call that as an ego. What he explained.
This is not ego. Ego is that energy within you which attempts to maintain a focus on which one? There are so many, right? On all of these.
I think I'm confused at the basic point.
No, why are you confused? You identify why you think you are confused. Ideas have a reality.
My understanding of ego is what the first paragraph is talking about.
No,
That is not the ego.
Ratna,
Why is this the
Chandra,
ego? Yeah.
second para, if we read from second para, the yellow one. Let's go further. In the yellow, yeah. Here, as mentioned in chapter 1, the ego, while a portion of the whole self, can be defined as psychological structure composed of characteristics belonging to the personality as a whole. So if you read all that, he will describe, it is belonging to your personality as a whole, organized together to form a surface identity.
See, this
is
is
the
ego. This portion is the ego, Ratna ma'am. This is the various facets of what you call reality.
He says a portion of the whole
Reality
self.
consists of ideas. The ideas have got an electromagnetic characteristic. Then beliefs are strong ideas about the nature of reality. The way you look at it, you perceive it. Ideas generate emotions. Like attracts like. So similar ideas group about each other. And which of the ideas do you accept? Those that fit in with your system of ideas. What is your system of ideas? Your belief system.
Yes.
Or whatever is aligned to your belief system. That is what becomes your system of ideas. But who is the observer? This is all the subject matter. You need an observer, right?
You're saying the ego is the observer here?
Exactly. Ego is not ideas. Ego is going to be the observer and user of the ideas, which eventually dovetails into the personality. You got multiple selves, right? Your ego self, your what you call your belief self. All these is your various components of yourself, correct? So that is where you need to be aware of. That is the point he's trying to make. Your ego is also got this structure through which you will take in or you will reject.
Okay. So if that part, now going back to that
yeah.
let's go back to that, sit
Ego is
absent.
your ego, there will be portions and you will adapt to the changes also, right?
I would change or I wouldn't change because
Okay.
the
Let's go back to one thing. We all
because
did this, right?
ego exists to
No, I'm
change.
coming to that only, right?
Yeah.
We all did this gulp experiment.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Prior to the gulp experience, you thought you could believe what you are thinking,
Mhm.
right? But what was the realization after the gulp experiment? That you are having awareness which is falling into two categories, right?
Mhm.
One that you are able to align with, the other one which is hidden, right? Yes or no?
Mhm.
Your ego originally was under a perception that you were aware of everything.
Yes.
But then when you did that experiment, did the ego increase expand in its abilities?
Yeah.
Right? That means you are expanding, you are prepared to change. Today your ego will tell you, look here, there are two things, beware. One, you may be doing it unconsciously without being aware. Does it tell you that as a result of the experiment?
Yeah.
Right. So there are two things. One you are not aware. When you started, that was your position. But today, your ego tells you that there are two
Okay.
potential.
Can I put that in a different wording? Say, suppose in the gulp experiment,
Correct.
initially my ego telling me that I'm limited, so that's what the
Correct.
reason why I don't really
Correct.
do.
Correct.
But the second time I was able to have a gulp in a smoother format, which
Correct.
due to the action of awareness. When I
Exactly. That ego
expanded my
is
ability,
now who is the one who has become aware? Your personality, right?
yes,
Right.
you
Now
said that,
that portion which is giving you that awareness is
that is the
that part of you. Pardon?
but that can be the conscious mind.
Which is again a portion of the ego only.
So you're saying the ego has the wide coverage of conscious mind.
Exactly. Ego is the one that gathers information about you and keeps you protected within what you believe. And as you learn, it expands. So it is a changing paradigm, right?
Okay. So I'm
Right?
thinking the expansion part wouldn't come under ego, but rather it
No,
comes
it
under.
will be, no, it will become part of your personality. That is what he is saying, right? The ego, while a portion of the whole self, can be defined as a psychological structure composed of characteristics belonging to the personality as a whole, organized together from a surface identity.
So instead of ego, we can call it mind, right?
A mind
Mm.
is an abstract entity. You cannot give it a surface identity. Because surface identity means you need to give it a physical characteristic, right? Think about it.
Hmm.
Mind is an abstract entity. So you are able to identify the characteristics. But giving it
Yeah.
an identity, a physical identity, a surface identity, needs more. Mind is the one that is creating these ideas.
Okay. Expansion and everything.
Exactly, right. It has got
Okay.
multiple characteristics.
Okay.
Yeah. This allows for easy emergence of many tendencies and abilities. It permits many more potentials to emerge than would otherwise be possible. If this were not the case, your interest throughout life, which is part of your ego, right? That will never change. Right? So, yeah, now let us go. Otherwise, it would not be responsive to the needs and desires of the entire personality. Because it is intimately connected to the other portions of the self, it does not basically feel alienated or alone, but proudly acts as the director of the conscious mind's focus. That is ego. It is an adjunct. For example, if the human being is thought of this way, right? The diagram that our Bob Proctor uses, right? The ego needs to take all these parameters into consideration. That is why he says, proudly acts as the director of the conscious mind's focus. Okay, let us say, who is the one who is deciding for you? That portion of your personality. Oh, I see a narrow passage. Will I be able to go in? Or do I leave the car here and then walk through? All those inputs, the one that is gathering is the director of your mind's focus, which is collecting all that to enable the personality to make a decision. Are you getting the point there? That is the role of the ego.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And
Now, correct. Yeah, go ahead, man.
no, and like I'm looking from our own examples, right? More with more Sajjan Sangatyas we are doing, more meditation we are doing, we see the change, like a shift in our ego, right? I mean,
Correct.
how much it was before versus now, when we understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Slowly, we get rid of our blind beliefs or limited beliefs.
The limited beliefs, the limited focus, our myopic view.
Yes.
Yeah, our point of view keeps on shifting.
Yes. And also here, when it is an adjunct of the conscious mind, in that respect, it boosts the conscious mind.
Exactly. It is a tool available for the mind of for the conscious mind and its area of focus.
Its source and its nature. It is the portion of the mind, then, that looks out upon physical reality and surveys it in relation to those characteristics of which it is composed at any given time. It makes its judgments according to its own idea of itself. It is the most physically oriented portion.
Now, here in this statement, he has introduced a little bit of caution for all of us.
Yeah, it makes judgment according to its own ideas of itself. Yes,
Its
every
own
personality
ideas
has
of itself. Again, perception plays a role.
Yes.
Which could be against reality.
Portion of your inner self.
Yes.
But it is not, however, apart from your inner self. It sits on the windowsill, so to speak, between you and the exterior world. It can also look in both directions. It makes judgments about the nature of reality in relationship to its and your needs. It accepts or does not accept beliefs. It cannot shut out information from your conscious mind, however, but it can refuse to pay attention to it. This does not mean that the information becomes unconscious. It is simply thrown into a corner of your mind, unassimilated, and not organized into the parcel of beliefs upon which you are presently concentrating. It is there if you look for it. It is not invisible, nor do you have to know exactly what you are looking for, which of course would make the situation nearly impossible. All you have to do is decide to examine the contents of your conscious mind, realizing that it contains treasures that you have overlooked. Another way to do this is to recognize through examination that the physical effects you meet exist as data in your conscious mind, and the information that formerly seemed unavailable will be obvious. The seemingly invisible ideas that cause your difficulties have quite obvious, visible physical effects, and these will lead you automatically to the conscious area in which the initiating beliefs or ideas reside.
Yeah.
Once more,
I think we will stop here. How much more is there? Oh, there is more. There's quite a lot to cover, so.
Yeah, we just
Or do
started the
you,
chapter.
huh? We'll do up to
No,
the
no.
end of this chapter, or we'll stop here?
No. It's a big chapter. No.
Yeah.
We'll go through later.
We'll
Yeah,
stop
that's what
here.
I think. Yeah, we will stop. Yeah. No, I'm aware of that. So basically, what is it saying? The last one. Another way to do this is to recognize through examination that the physical effects you meet exist as data in your conscious mind, and the information that formerly seemed unavailable will be obvious. That means utilize your ego, visit your past, visit your current, you will get a full picture rather than taking a limited picture. That is the power that is available to all of us. Can I stop the recording?
Yes.